Hi there, it's Hal Feldman, MiamiHal. It's the MiamiHal Real Estate Show, and we're going to do the show open now, right, Tommy?
Yeah.
Do it. All right. Listen, I paid tens of dollars to have that opening, so we're going to have it every single show. Tommy, I appreciate you. Today, we've got something that is very important to all of us. You have grandparents, you have parents, right? And it could even be you. It's about aging. And when you age, there are things that need to be paid attention to. So today, I brought back a former guest. He's here today. I love the fact that he's here. Rick Drew. Rick, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure, Hal.
You are now an independent senior advocate, correct?
I am indeed, yes.
And I'm going to embarrass you a little bit
Go ahead.
because throughout your life, you have really kind of dedicated yourself. It's your being to protect people. You've been a police officer,
Yep.
and then you've had a number of jobs. All of them really have to do with caring for people, whether they're young or old. But more recently, you've been spending a lot of time making sure seniors get the respect and the lifestyle that they deserve, correct?
Done my very best, yes, I have.
All right. See, did I embarrass you?
Did. No, you didn't embarrass me.
Okay, good, because that's what you're about. Today, we're going to talk about the fact that you recently were working with a particular place for senior living,
mm-hmm.
and you have now graduated into your own business.
I have.
And you're going to get out there and do things even better than you have in the past, right?
I'd like to think I will.
I'm sure you will. So tell us a little bit about your recent history so people know just how much of an expert you are in this business.
I would be more than happy to. Yeah. I've been working with seniors now since 2011. I started with the East Ridge at Cutler Bay, which is where you and I met. And I learned a lot about why seniors are attracted to senior living communities. I learned a lot about some of the problems that they were having in their homes, and whether it be medical or other problems with their houses. And I kind of segued and moved to another community up in Plantation where you saw the very same things. It doesn't really matter where you are, you're going to see seniors facing the same problems. I came back, and this is over a span of 10 years. I came back and was working for a community here in Dadeland where you see the same thing. Seniors are just a little confused about where they need to go and what they can do to make the best out of this particular season in their life. So now I've decided that instead of being on the other side of the table, I want to represent the senior specifically instead of representing a community and then the senior.
Got it.
Makes any sense?
Yeah. And in fact, I just had a wonderful lunch with a gentleman who used to be a real estate agent, 90 years old in a couple of days. We were celebrating his birthday today a little bit early. And, he and his wife both still around. They live in a condo in the Dadeland area, actually. And wonderful man. And he's still got all of his energy and his wits about him. And he's got great stories. Now, his wife in recent years, or actually recent months, I should say, has slowed down and has some physical problems. And it's really interesting to listen to them and understand what their mentality is around the challenges that they have. And so I actually realized during the lunch today that listening is probably 90% of what you need to do, because nobody can come up with a magic formula for anybody that's over the age, 60 or 65 or whatever number you want to put to it and go, this is how everybody needs to be treated. And that's really what you are, specialized to do, is to figure out the path for individuals, correct?
I'd like to think so. I think I've spent some time learning about seniors and really researching what it is that makes us tick as we get older. And I was able to put together some really good formats for educational programming as well, teaching seniors how to be prepared for Alzheimer's, working with them on understanding how, because of living longer, we're evolving into a different environment today. Age-related diseases that we have to experience and deal with today, we didn't have in the 60s and 70s. So we had to prepare ourselves for that. So I've probably done over 150 workshops from Marathon Key up to Fort Lauderdale, trying to educate our seniors on exactly what it is we can do to make the season in our life in the very best it can be, and understanding and recognizing some of the predators that I would call the age-related diseases out there that are affecting us. So I think those are very important things. But you know, the things that seniors face right now, how are and another thing seniors really need to do is to document things. And so I've done that today. Um, can't remember everything as we get a little older, so it's
Right?
nice to write
Yes.
things down so I don't forget them. But some of the real problems that seniors are facing today is very simply being able to navigate everything that's in front of them. There's so many things out there. Just Medicare in itself is just a treacherous thing to have to contend with. To
It's
understand it.
complicated. I have parents who are dealing with Medicare or
Yep.
Medicaid, and they tend to spend hours on the phone trying to
Yeah.
figure out, who's paying for this, how to get the medication
Definitely
most
so.
efficiently. And that's just a small facet of things,
It
right?
certainly is. There are scams out there that are targeted just for seniors. The unsafe homes. So many seniors are living in houses and homes that 50 years ago were beautiful, but today the home unfortunately has stayed the same, but we haven't. So the home and staying in the home has become unsafe, and it is probably the number one impediment to independent living.
So I kind of equate this, and know you're going to go into a lot of great detail. It's almost like when you first have a baby, you have to baby proof the home.
That's true.
And then you have a whole bunch of middle years where, hey, I'm cognitive, I can get around, I can bend, I can do what I need to do. And then you need to senior proof the home,
I
right?
call it seniorizing the home.
Okay.
We'll call it
Sorry.
seniorizing it.
I'll adapt that.
There we go.
Seniorizing the
We're
home. So tell us
seniorizing the
about
home.
that.
But here, but the beginning back to a moment, loneliness and is a big factor also that the seniors are experiencing. So that can make them go one direction or another, but also is the opening to these things like Alzheimer's and these age-related diseases that's affecting our mind. So keeping seniors active, that's a big problem for them. Medical issues that just we can't be prepared for, and those unknowns. So there's all those problems for seniors. So the thing and the most effective thing that we can do for seniors is to try and help them to stay independent. You know, when you talk to someone, they say, I want to move from my house. You don't hear that. Everybody wants to stay in their home. They want to be where
Yeah.
their wife or their husband was when they lived with their children.
Yeah. And they've got all those memories.
Mhm.
And I think you've said this before, and again, you'll be more elegant, but listen, memories do not need the original house to keep them.
That's
The
true.
memories are here, and you can bring items from a home to your next place, right?
You
So
can. Well, I would say of 157 people that I have actually conducted a survey from, none of them said that they wanted to leave their house. All of them wanted to stay home. Very few of them wanted to live with their children. And some did actually elect to move to a community where there was a sense of community and other things for them. But what my services are going to be, Hal, which are important to me, and I think the folks who live down this way, is I have a program called Home Safety Inspections and Corrections. And what that means is I'm going to go into your home and I am going to actually perform a very thorough inspection to make certain that home is a safe environment for you to live in. You know, walking over an extension cord at the age of 40 is really not an issue. When you're walking over an extension cord with a walker, it can be dangerous. It can be a disaster. So I will come into your house and I will spend some time making certain that it is safe. In this process will be concluded with me making recommendations to you or to the homeowner, to the family, on what they can do to make it safe. And I have a team now of experts that can come in and we can change out things like bathtubs. We can come in and put something on the tile to make it slip proof or even replace a tile if necessary. We go in and we're going to remove carpets that can cause slip and fall issues. The bathtubs can be removed and we can put in a new bathtub with a cutout where you can actually walk into the bathtub now and it's not going to be as dangerous. We can put in grab bars for in the bathroom, around the toilet, and the shower. There's just a plethora of things we can do to make the house safer. There's some little products today that are very simple, very inexpensive, that you can place in the rooms of the home. If the senior falls, they can call from the floor for 911, or they can call their daughter or whoever's out there, and it'll call them immediately. You know, a lot of people don't think about those things,
yeah,
but they're very important. They can actually stop a lot of painful things from occurring.
got it. And you actually keep that service
Mhm.
in the family.
Yes.
So you're old enough, I won't talk about your
It's
age,
all right.
to have wow, thanks, Grant. To have adult sons, right?
I do. I do.
So they're part of your team. You obviously you can do your own consultation as to what to do, but if
Mhm.
they choose to actually start doing some of those, you don't have to call a contractor who can be late and problematic. It's actually just calling within the family, and you get out there with those experts. They're experts
can.
doing installations and engineering and things like that to get it done. Yes.
We can. As a matter of fact, my sons are electricians, plumbers, carpenters. One of them currently has a full time position, but he's a great advocate for me when it comes to fixing things and doing it the right way. But we can go in, we can paint the home, we can get it ready for sale. If someone's about to sell their home, my team can come in and sell it or clean it up, paint it, and get it fixed to where it's showable.
Let's take a
But
quick pause there. You're talking about selling a home. And one of the things I want to mention is, I actually love working with seniors who are ready to take the next positive step in their life. And so, how would you advise a person that is thinking about moving as to what type of agent they should use and what the process should be? Because it's not just about selling the house, right? It's about a whole process. And one of the smaller items actually is, yeah, and you also have to sell the house, right?
yeah, I think that a lot of us are thinking that to get a real estate agent, especially, is just a matter of getting a real estate agent. I've learned over the years that a real estate agent with connections is a real estate agent that you'd really like to have selling your house, because he not only can put the house on the MLS and get it ready and prepared to sell for you, but he has a lot of connections out there for people who are looking to buy homes. And it's going to help the senior really and truly to get it sold faster. But I think that someone like yourself, Hal, that's been planted in this part of South Florida for so long, you're probably one of the leading experts, I would say, when it comes to selling your home. So it would be
It's
the
a
right direction to go.
it's a pleasure to do that work
Mhm.
because I know that it's not just about a financial transaction. It is truly about helping people make the next transition in their life, and I want to be part of that so that I'm
Yep,
remembered, right?
that's
And
important.
we've done it a couple of times together already.
Yes, we have.
And so the idea is, yes, you and I both are employed in this area, and we both make money at it. But that's truly secondary to what's in our heart and what we want to provide for people. Yes.
True.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
let's get back to some of those services because you gave me a list, and there's plenty of things that people need to think about in their homes,
They
right?
really and truly do.
Yeah.
A lot of accidents happen in the bathroom. It's probably most of the accidents in the house do happen in the bathroom. Being a police officer, as we mentioned earlier, one of the first scenes that I actually responded to wasn't supposed to be a scene. It was just to check on the well-being of a senior citizen. This was up in Kissimmee. And when I got to the house, how the house was, the lights were on, the car was in the front yard. And when I knocked on the door, no one came. I called my supervisor. We went into the house after smelling an odor. And unfortunately,
Oh,
the fellow in there in his 90s had fallen trying to get out of the bathtub. And it was about 2 weeks earlier. So, not preparing your house, not having grab bars, not having something to make certain that the environment you're living in is safe is not only going to be costly, it's going to be devastating in terms of something like that happening.
and now there's no excuse, especially with technology. You mentioned that there are devices that you can put in the home to basically ask for help by voice. The Apple Watch does the same
Yeah.
thing. So there's lots of things that people can do, and there really can't be an excuse. You have to, with an expert like you, take action together so that you're protecting again your parents, your grandparents, and other family members that absolutely need that extra level of comfort, even if they're kicking and screaming, hey, I can do it on my own. They really can't. They need assistance. Yes.
Yeah, they do. I don't think you'll find anybody complaining about having someone come into their house to fix it up. I have bumped into a lot of seniors that were leaving their homes just for that reason. Sunken living room or steps leading up to the house, forgetting to turn off the stove, leaving an iron on the ironing board. A lot of things like
Hmm.
this are so simple, but they're so catastrophic if you don't do the right thing. So, with my service, I'm going to come into your house. I'm going to go through it and make certain that all these little things are taken care of. You're not going to have to worry about clutter because I'm going to come in and try to help you to clear that away because clutter is like a hurdle as you're trying to get through the 100-yard dash. If you have clutter in your living room and things like that, they're going to be trip and fall hazards. You don't want to fall if you're going to fall and hit your head on a sharp edge. So a lot of these things we can go into, we'll pay particular attention to them and make certain, like I said, that your family members are going to have the peace of mind of knowing that you're in a safe environment. And not doing something like this is, I can't even imagine it. If you have an opportunity to get someone to come in, it wasn't me or anybody else, to seniorize the house to make it safe for your parents to live in, you're doing everybody a justice.
Um, what would it cost on average? I know that's a really tough question to seniorize a home.
It's not a tough question at all. The going rate for me is like $150 an hour, and I'm probably going to spend the first 15 minutes, and it's going to be a consulting a scenario where we're not going to be charging you anything, and we'll go in. It's probably going to take me a couple of hours to go through the house. I'm going to at that point create a report, and the report will be how we will sit down and discover and go through things that we can do to correct these issues in your home. At that point, I'm going to work on having folks come in, whether it be my sons or other people come in to correct these things and make it safer. So you're probably looking at a couple, 3 hours of my time when it comes to, coming in and do a seniorizer type inspection.
Got it. And we also kind of passed over this. You've not only done specific jobs where you were really on the senior housing side of things, but you've done seminars as well. So what kind of seminars and what kind of history do we have there? And what did you teach? I guess you had to be more generic because you've got multiple people watching you. But tell me about the seminars.
Well, one of the seminars I've been teaching for about the last 8 years has been on being able to recognize and understand Alzheimer's. My mother was diagnosed with dementia many years ago, and I didn't even at that time know how to spell dementia. I spelled it wrong when I sent an email to my brother. And I have spent a lot of time trying to understand why. Number one, why are we getting these things and what we can do? And it's unfortunate that even the latest technology today isn't really there yet. The Food and Drug Administration just gave a fast track approval on a new drug for Alzheimer's, but there's so much issues with it right now that most doctors are saying they're not even going to use it. So yes, I taught classes as a layman or taught seminars as a layman, what we can do. And number one thing is there's 3 people in this room right now. One of us is going to get Alzheimer's. One of us is going to be diagnosed. Probably the guy across the way that's not on camera.
He's not even looking at us. We're pointing at you, Grant.
Somebody will.
He's halfway there.
What did you say? And whether it's Alzheimer's or dementia, but that's the number. That's a pretty serious number. Do you realize that right now, when we leave here, we have a 1 in 6,000 chance of getting into an automobile accident. We have a 1 in 3 chance of getting Alzheimer's. Wow. And most of us don't do anything about it until the doctor says you have it. And so that means we didn't plan for it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I hopefully I don't have to pay too close attention for myself with this, but I have been listening to a lot of programming about this. One of the ways you can stave off dementia is to make sure you are interacting with other people and you are not isolated among yourself. So having meals with people, having conversations, doing, whatever the activity is, just having that brain function with other people is a big factor on how quickly dementia could set in. Am I correct?
You're absolutely correct. Dr. David Lowenstein from the University of Miami's Memory Disorder Clinic had stated earlier, a few years ago, that being engaged with other people is probably one of the best things you can do if you're being afflicted with Alzheimer's, because it's going to creep up on you. Slowly. You're not going to have memory issues. You're going to have issues where you're confused. You're going to have other little things that's going to pop up and down with you, and eventually it'll start to become more and more problematic with your memory. But just being engaged, doing something, not being alone in your home, those are some things we'll talk about also when I'm sitting down with someone in their homes to make certain that they're prepared for those.
So you are, at the core, helping people make their environment safe.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we just mentioned that a lot of seniors really need to have that ongoing interaction so that they don't get rusty, for lack of a better term. And so where are some of the places that seniors can look at if they are at least interested in leaving their home environment? And what type of facilities are around Miami-Dade and maybe even some Broward County things that are of interest to you and that you would potentially recommend they look at?
If I was working with a parent, if I was working with a senior, I would want to sit down with that senior first and find out what their likes and their dislikes and what their needs are. And I would take their financial situation and try to match it up to the right community. Yeah. That's very important, because if you go somewhere and you're going to run out of money, then it's not going to be any good for you for the rest of your life. In addition to that, there are rental communities, that offer a really inexpensive way to get in, but their rent's a little higher. There are communities like at East Ridge that's typically a life care program where you have a large entrance fee, but you're prepaying for your long-term medical, which is it's a good program for people who are looking for that. There's a community up in Plantation when I was with that had a 90% refundable program where if you come in, 90% of the money you put in for your entrance fee would go back to your family when you die. So that's a pretty good idea. There's different programs, there's different things, and here's the thing about it: if you don't know these things, when you go to these communities, you're going to probably get what the salesperson has kind of laid out for you.
That's exactly where I'm heading. So any place you go, I don't think anybody's trying to do anything malicious or nasty, but they all have an angle,
They
right?
do.
They're a business.
They are.
And so you are excited to take this new chapter in your life because you are an advocate, not for one of the facilities,
Right.
but for the people that you are working with.
I am indeed.
And
The
so,
salesperson, Hal, the salesperson is trained on how to overcome your objections. They're trained on how to use third party stories to get you excited and get you emotionally involved. And most importantly, they are trained on how to create urgency for you to get you to do something pretty quick. What I will bring to the table if I'm advocating for a senior going to one of these communities, I know the right questions to ask. I know what to look for, and I know what answers are the right ones that would fit for the seniors that we're sitting next to. Assisted living communities, there's so many different variables in assisted living. There's assisted living communities that have an increasing level of care that will come as our health starts to diminish. You're going to see it's going to start costing more money. It's called levels of service or levels of care. There's other ones that have a flat fee, so you can have very predictable expenses as you go through life. So there's just different programs for memory support. A lot of them will say, well, we're here to provide you with a lot of different things for memory support. You need to ask what things, what is it that you're doing and how's that really going to impact my mother or father? And instead of just taking their word for it, let me see some information that's just conclusive to show me that what you're doing helps. If you don't, you're just going to have that salesman really and truly convince you that what they have is the best. And if you ask them if this is a good fit, they're going to always say yes. We're a perfect fit for you.
so let's take this as an example.
Uh-huh.
I, again, had lunch with a 90-year-old who's in really good shape, and his wife is a little bit younger, but having some issues now with health. And maybe they're ready to look at something different.
Mhm.
And if they were engaging with you, how would you kind of start with them, and what general advice could you give them given their ages and the fact that one is healthy and probably could go out and do a good brisk walk, and the other one can't leave right now because health is hopefully temporarily in some trouble.
Mhm.
So
Well, you have to sit down and really do a good discovery, even whether you're selling a product or not, to determine what someone's needs are. And you really don't want to make a recommendation until you learn more about them. I need to know. It seems just like that. I need to know if the husband or wife, what they're if they're ambulatory, if they can get around, what type of things they enjoy doing. I would like to know. I need to know what their finances are because there's a huge variety of communities out there based on finances. I spoke to a gentleman some time ago who's a very important fellow. He's written lots of books and has lots of movies that has been produced as a result of his books. And I was trying to court him to this community, and he said, "There's no way I'll move to that place." Now, the community I was just at's a pretty nice community, but it wasn't even close to what he was looking for in terms of opulence. So you really have to know who your client is and what they're looking for. Now, I can say with reasonable surety that I am familiar with most of the communities in South Florida, and so I would take the information you gave me and I would try to first and foremost match you up with the community that I think would be a good fit for you. And that would be the first one we would want to go to, and the second one, the third one, based on what we find when we go there.
so you leverage your expertise of what the facilities are like,
Right.
matching it with the personality that at least you see. And then look, if I'm a little bit off, you work with them. It is not a force fit.
No,
You don't go, well, listen, based on what you have answered my questions, you're going to go to this place.
absolutely.
It
not.
is a collaboration all the way through.
Absolutely. That will be the most important thing for me, is knowing that because it's important for you and for me and everybody else out there that we're prepared for the next season in our life. And
Looks like we actually have a question. I'm going to try to, Rick, can you see that?
Nope.
I'll never forget how giving you,
Let me put it on the bottom.
oh, perfect.
There you go.
What's
You
it
were
say?
giving help to my senior neighbor, and we won't mention the name. You were selfless. You gave her so much hope through difficult times. Thank you.
Well, that was very nice.
That's a great comment.
Thank you
So
for that.
what it does is it shows our audience exactly the type of person you are, and I've known that for years. As soon as we met each other, I'm like, this is just the right personality for what he's doing. And you've continued that for, geez, at this point, 10 plus years, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
But let's go back to kind of wrap things up. You've got a whole bunch of ideas on what needs to be done inside a home, And where do we go from here? How does somebody contact you, and what's their expectation when they do contact you?
Well, I would like to be contacted by this number here. And my name again is Rick Drew, and my phone number is 305 770 8071. Now, I will come into your home, we'll do a consultation. It won't take long, and that won't be, it will be free. It will be me trying to get to know you. And then once we decide on if you want me to go further and to seniorize your home, then we'll be talking about and what we will do from there. We'll have to determine that from there. But we can fix your home up and make it a safe place to live. If you're not wanting to stay in your home, then I can help and advocate for you to find the right place to live. Understanding, the senior living industry, assisted living, and memory support, how to look for the right one. If you want to go to a placement agency, just remember they're going to take your name and your information. They're going to send it out to 6 or 7 communities. They're all going to call you, and whichever one wins gets the pay the placement agency anywhere from $4,000 to $12,000, depending on what type of apartment you moved into.
So you're being shopped around rather than you being an advocate for that person.
That's correct. The placement agencies are doing that. For me, I'll actually go with you, and the decisions that you'll make is going to be based on what you really and truly would like to have, not what someone else thinks would be good for you.
Hmm. And it's not as if they're attacking. It's just you truly, as a senior, should have an advocate, whether it's a family member or you.
Right.
It's not fighting, but it's making sure that the path to find the right place is you own it rather than the place that's shopping to get your business.
That's exactly the case. So I'm going to be here to advocate for you as a senior. I'm very familiar with Pinecrest, Cutler Bay, Palmetto Bay, and of course Coral Gables. So these are the areas that I would really be good at in terms of assisting folks, but anywhere in Miami-Dade County. Look at me for coming in to making things better for your life and improving your life and extending your independence. If you're looking for your parents and you're looking for a community, I'm certain I can be very helpful to you there to find the right fit for them. In addition to that, if you're looking to sell your home, my team can come in, we can get it ready. You can even share that with your other real estate agents out there.
Sure.
We'll come in, we can get the house painted and get it really nice and proper for selling and get it staged where it looks really nice. The landscaping and all those things we can take care of if someone wants to move. And then we can also assist in downsizing. We can help them with that. And we also have contacts with good movers who are capable and able to do the right things for seniors. And so we can get you started. There's lots of things we can do with my advocacy to help people.
Wonderful. Rick, thank you so much for sharing all this great information with us. And if we could leave people with one thing that they should be doing today for the senior that they love, what should they go do? Get to their home and do what?
First of all, don't wait till it's too late, Hal. I mean, you don't want to do that. You want to make certain that you're being proactive in whatever might be going on in your family's life. But don't leave the house there where your mom or dad's in alone and have to wait for something horrible to happen. If you get out and get in front of it, your mom or dad can stay independent for a very long time in their home and be happy. And when we come in, we're going to make certain that we offer those opportunities and provide them with a good environment to live in.
Great. So to my audience, I am here for real estate dreams, but in reality, behind those dreams, it's about doing things right for the people that you love or for yourself. Rick Drew is somebody that I've known for many years, and he is one of those people that can advocate and do the right things for you. And I am always out there looking for great topics to talk about that are real estate related. Thank you again, Rick. Give your phone number one more time, and we'll say goodbye.
My phone number is going to be 305-770-8071.
All right. Until next week. See ya.
Thank you, Hal.